Thanks for joining me right here on the channel. The solution is you. I do appreciate you just for stopping by. I realize that you could be anywhere, but you've decided to stop by here with me on the channel. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. With that, let me go over today's topic. Now, the subject for today: 5 signs that your relationship has escalated to the danger zone. So let me go ahead and get started with today's subject. Now, there are many of us who are in good relationships. Men, there are a lot of you who have a great woman, whether she lives with you or not, and this is someone that you can share your secrets and your special moments with. I mean, it's nothing like that special woman that you know you have to come home to after a hard day's work. A woman who understands your needs and cooks for you and looks out for you and gives you advice, and she supports you in every way that she can. How many of you guys have a great woman that is by your side? Now, today's subject is catered mostly to those who are not necessarily married, but the subject matter is for anyone. But this is specifically for those men who are dating and you haven't taken the next step yet. This is someone that maybe you just got with and you haven't been with them too long, but it's long enough to where you have established a great relationship with this woman and she really appreciates you. There's nothing like to have a nice, soft woman by your side. So there are a lot of men who cherish their woman, and you have great times together and you can pretty much do any and everything around her with comfort. And let me tell you, one of the most underestimated things about when you're dating or in any relationship is the fact that the woman that you're with is one that really understands your needs and kind of can read you. So if you are watching the game, this is a woman who understands that, and she's gonna just let you watch the game for the 3 hours, and maybe she will connect with you after the game. Sometimes you have those women who doesn't matter if you're watching the game or not, they're gonna be asking you questions about some shopping or something that they're gonna be doing later with some friends or something like that, or they're gonna be asking you questions about work, interrupting your game time and things like that. I know some of you guys have experienced this, but it's nothing like a woman who really gets you and understands when you are doing certain things to kind of let you be and kind of let you do your thing. It's nothing like having a good peace of mind when you are around the person that you're sharing your time with. But there are those situations when you're dating a woman and things appear to be going well. There can be some signs that you definitely don't want to ignore that can signal when things have turned left. So let me go ahead and I want to get into 5 signs that your relationship has escalated to the danger zone. So let me start with number 5: chasing for a comeback. So sometimes, men, when you're dating a woman, and maybe you haven't been dating this woman long, but you've definitely had sex with her. And let's say you've been dating this woman for about a month, 2 months. It could even be for 3 weeks. And maybe sometimes, guys, you can find yourself in the heat of the moment and you could be telling this woman any and everything just to make yourself look good or to make her respect you for the time that she's known you. But depending on what you're telling this woman, or depending on this woman's background and how she was brought up, or maybe she has some sort of a attitude or a certain outlook at men. Maybe this woman is not good with relationships, but usually when you're dating someone, a lot of the things that are negative rarely ever come up. So usually this is, if there's anything brewing, this is something that will come to a head later. So with this woman, you understand that you're looking for something serious in a relationship. You don't have time to waste. Maybe you've done your thing with women back in the day and you're kind of tired of that, going through different women, and you just looking for a woman who is just ready to take things to the next level. So with this woman that you've met and that you've gotten to know, you're looking at taking things to the next level, but you see that somewhat, even after the sex, that she's still about playing games. So sometimes she's trying to act like she's serious, and then other times she's playing games. And so you've noticed this, and you've decided to go ahead and set a clear boundary with her as to what you want out of a relationship and where you would like for things to go. So basically, you've told this woman that it appears that she's not the one for you and that you believe that you two should move on. This could also be a woman that you are in and out of relationships with. So maybe first 2 weeks you are together, and then maybe 2 weeks after you haven't seen her, y'all are not talking. Then maybe uh, another day she comes over and you knock you down, and then 2 days later you're in an argument and you're not seeing each other. So this is the type of woman that you're dating. So you've already set a clear boundary about where you want the relationship to go and what you expect. And you're at a point where you're not talking to her. So she's at her place. Maybe she's staying with her mom or something like that. And you have your own place. So this is a woman that has got in her car and come over to your place, and she's maybe sitting out in the parking lot, or she's sitting across the street from your house, surveilling everything, seeing what time you're leaving and where you're going and maybe who's coming in and out. And so this is a woman, when you're coming out to maybe run an errand, maybe you're going to go to the store or something. And when you get outside, you quickly realize who it is because you recognize her car and you can see her clearly in the driver's seat. So you don't want any problems with her. So you go ahead and you jump in your vehicle, you pull out of the garage or whatever, and now you're on your way to the store, and you look in your rearview mirror and she's following you. So you hit a block, you hit turn left, and then she turns left. So then you make another left and she turns left. So now you're not headed to the store as originally planned because you don't want her following you to your destination. So now you're at a traffic light and she's about 2 cars behind. You can clearly see her out of your rear view. So now the light has turned and you're proceeding forward. So you speed up and hit the quick right. And a few seconds later, she hits the right. Now, how many of you guys have ever been through a situation like this? Maybe you had a one night stand, or maybe this was a young girl or something that you were with, or maybe even this is a woman who doesn't like to hear the word no, or doesn't like to be turned down for anything. Even if you're in the right, even if you're doing everything by the book and you are you've already explained to her the situation and what your expectations are. How many of you guys have been in a situation where you have a woman in her car chasing you around, trying to get some answers, trying to find out where you're going, trying to get that one last chance? I know a lot of you guys have been in this situation. This could even be a situation where one of you guys have even pulled over and the girl has gotten out and you are talking, maybe arguing or something. Then you might go back home and have sex or something like that. So there's a lot of situations with guys in situations like this where things are kind of turning dangerous and maybe you're not catching on. And if you let a situation like this go on too long, you can end up regretting it. Now, number four, the threat thrower. So, guys, this is a woman that you're dating and same situation. You haven't known her for that long, and maybe you have had sex with this woman, or and she's treating you right and everything, and she's always staying in touch with you. And this is the type of woman that you like to go out with. So you're going to different places. She attends different appointments with you, and you're maybe even going to see a couple of her cousins or something. And y'all are always together. Maybe y'all go catch a basketball game together, and then another time you two are going out to eat, and sometimes you're just walking around, just taking a quick walk just to get some fresh air together. But this is a woman that when you're out in public, maybe you're at some professional place, some type of social environment or something where everybody is acting civil, and you're doing your thing or something, and maybe there's some other woman who you know and is just a acquaintance, somebody you've seen in passing before or something, and she just makes some quick eye contact with you, and this girl that you're with, she notices it, and then she throws a threat at you, says something like, wait until we get home. How you gonna disrespect me like that? And all you did was just look over at the woman because you know her. So this is a girl that is very insecure, and maybe this is one that maybe she doesn't look all that hot. Maybe she's just a decent looking woman, and there's some other things that you could appreciate about her. So she feels some sort of way about maybe her looks or something, and, or maybe that the woman that you were looking at, she felt that she looked better than her or something like that. So she's throwing threats at you. This could also be one that has personality changes. So you could be at the library or something and you're reading a book and she's talking loud or something. You're trying to get her to be quiet, and now she's just going to throw a threat at you about you telling her what to do or something like this. This is basically immaturity. So a lot of guys, you can find yourselves in situations where you're dating a woman just based off if you can get some quick sex, or maybe there's something she can do for you at home. Maybe she is good at keeping things clean and tidy, or taking care of your kids or something like that. And you kind of just doing a trade off. Usually, this happens during low self esteem periods for yourself, where you may have been in a bad relationship and you're just going to accept anybody who comes into your life when they're coming in at that vulnerable moment. This could also be a woman that is at a low point in her life. Maybe she experienced some things at home, or there could be some other issues or something going on, maybe some past drug use or something. But other than that, maybe she has a banging body or something, and you're willing to accept what she's going to provide for you. So you're going to bring her in, and you're going to make her your girl, and you two have been dating. And usually this is a person who can be immature, or they could be insecure, and they're going to throw threats at you if they feel like their situation's in jeopardy, she's in jeopardy of being left, or maybe you're gonna come to your senses and you could possibly leave her. This is one that is gonna throw threats at you. So, she's gonna take vengeance out on you and who knows what type of way. So you have to be very careful about people who are at a low self-esteem point because they are capable of doing whatever. And this could include you becoming harmed or someone you love. And, you just don't want to be out here settling for anything. Now, speaking of throwing, number 3, the tantrum thrower. So, just like I mentioned immaturity with point number 4, well, with the tantrum thrower, this is someone who gets easily upset because they cannot get their way. So this is a woman who this could be one that is expecting you to always be at home. Maybe she doesn't have a job or can't get a job, so she's at home, and maybe you are always at work and you're making your money, and she just needs you to be at home an extra day. She wants you to call off out of nowhere, and you're basically explaining the importance of you going out and making your money, and she's trying to convince you that it's only one day that you're going to take off. So any time that you've missed, it's going to go against you and everything is at your expense. I know there's a lot of guys who've been through this where you are dating a woman who could be younger than you, maybe by 7 to 10 years younger. Or this could just be someone who's even your age or could be older who just has bad understanding, and they try to make themselves seem or believe that they are being done wrong, even though they know that they're not being reasonable. So this is one that's very dangerous because when you have a woman that is making you do things that are going to get you penalized or it's going to cause you a loss of income, they could easily say, well, you're not spending any time with them or something. So now this is grounds for you maybe coming home on your lunch or something and have some other guy in your bed. This is a woman that could use you not being around to go off and be with some other guy and cheat or something. This could also be a woman that gets upset because you're not going to buy any and everything for her. So she's just going to throw a big tantrum, starts calling your names inside of the department store while everyone's looking. This could also be at dinner at some restaurant or something. And maybe you are trying to budget everything out, and this is at a pretty decent restaurant, and she's going to call you cheap, and now the waiter is kind of looking at you crazy. So this could put you in a dangerous spot because you could end up snapping and doing something to the woman that is going to cost you your freedom. You could end up in a situation where you have maybe some of her family members or something waiting on you outdoors or something like that. So, you don't want to be in situations where you're going to be coerced or going to be provoked to do something when it's unwarranted. Now, this leads me to point number 2, the sinister smile. Now, this is really one that will be understood if you are a guy who's been around the block a few times, regardless of if you are in a loving relationship or even married. Everyone started somewhere and you had to kind of get your feet wet and you had to sample this and sample that and to get where you're at. And so the sinister smile is a woman who is fairly attractive looking. This is one that could have dimples. This is one that has a very pretty smile, but she's also a woman that you can't tell if she is smiling to serve you up or to take you out. How many of you men ever experienced a woman with a sinister smile? So this is one where you could be in the bedroom having sex or something, and she's just smiling, and so you thinking everything is good or something. And this could be one of those type of women that could be providing some great oral sex, and maybe you're doing something like not paying attention or you looking at your phone or something, and she's just going to go and give you a quick bite to get your attention back. How many of you guys had to deal with a woman who looked fairly sinister? This is one that has the sex appeal. She even has the body and everything. But more than anything, she has that special smile. And you can't tell if she's joking or if she's serious. But this is one that is willing to do any and everything to get your attention. You know, you have some women out there who are like this, who they come out very sexy like, has that sex appeal and seems to be very innocent. But if they catch you doing something you're not supposed to be doing, or you are not giving them the proper attention, they got ways to get you straightened out. This is what they believe. So this could be a woman with the sinister smile. You two could be in the room and you could be talking about something, and she's asking you a question about some woman that you were talking to earlier, or this other woman is somebody who just walked up to you and just maybe she needed directions or something like that. And while you are in bed and maybe your woman is about to iron a few of her clothes, so she got the ironing board out next to the bed, and maybe you sitting right at the edge of the bed or something, and she done plugged the iron in. And so she's asking you about this woman who you know was asking for directions, but your girl is plugging the iron in and she has the steam coming out from the iron, and she's asking you about who you're talking to earlier. And you sitting on the edge of the bed, no shirt on, just your boxers on, and she's just has the iron upright with a hand on the handle, and she's trying to see what you or how you gonna respond to her question about this woman that was in your face asking these about directions. How many of you men had to deal with this? A woman who seems like she's just so sexy and everything and innocent, but is just so sinister. This could also be one that kind of acts strange when she has scissors in her hand. So, you know, maybe you are just finished sex or something, and for some reason she has a pair of scissors in her hand or something, and you are at attention in the bed, and she's just going to dive in the bed and going to kiss you on your neck with the scissors in her hand, and now you are contemplating what's going through her mind and you looking for a place of safety. You have women who will do this. And like I said, it takes a few guys or some guys who have been around the block to have experienced a situation like this, where you have a woman who is willing to go far and do whatever under the guise of looking sexy. Now, number one of the 5 signs that your relationship has escalated to the danger zone: neighborhood nudging. So this is a woman that you're dating, and you know, men, the thing about women is that they know what they're doing. Anything that they get themselves into, they know exactly what they're doing when they do it. And the thing about women is just they're so beautiful. They look so nice and so attractive, and the body features and women smelling so good, and all these different things and characteristics about when you have a nice woman by your side. But the thing about this, the more that your woman looks good and smells good and everything, that this is much more attractive to the next man. So sometimes you may have a woman who could have a sinister look. She could have an attitude that allows her to be a tantrum thrower. She could be a woman who throws threats every now and then. This could be a woman whose sex is so good that if you chose to get rid of her, she'll be chasing you around the block in order to come back. So this could be a woman that feels that if she's not getting her way, that she's going to use the guy next door, or if you're in the neighborhood with a lot of other guys or something, maybe living across the street, next to you, down the street, that she's going to be using those guys in order to get back at you. So what do I mean by this? So what I mean is, this could be a woman, maybe while you're at work or something, and you like to video chat with your woman, maybe on lunch, or you take a quick break. You're going to come out and video chat. She's at the house. So you make the call. Her face pops on the screen. And so, you asking her, hey, baby, what you doing? So she's like, oh, I'm out here watering the yard. So yeah, you out there watering the yard. And come to find out, she's in the front yard with the water hose with some small shorts on and her shirt tied up with a bunch of guys sitting across the street on the porch looking at her. This could also be a woman that is trying to talk to one of your best buddies. So this could be a guy that you know very well that lives next door or something. And you know how this goes. Even though you have a buddy that's close, don't think that this guy ain't thinking about knocking your girl down at any chance that he can get. You have guys who will not waste time, especially if you have a really fine woman or a woman that's body is banging and maybe she's upset with you about something. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something that you've done. It could be just, she just has these unreasonable expectations, or she gets upset at everything you do. Sometimes you have women like that just get upset over everything. And they are just using this as an excuse to act out their fantasies, and they're going to act out their fantasy with the guy next door, or some guys that are down the street, or maybe some guy that just moved in or something, 3 or 4 doors down. And while you're gone, or when you're going to the store, she's coming out and mingling and walking up to the guy and giving too much information. How many of you guys have ever been around a woman? Doesn't necessarily have to be your woman, but this is a woman that's giving out too much information, talking about her sex life and talking about what some other guy did to her, and she had to just put up with it or something, or she just had to deal with whatever sexual he was doing, and she couldn't control herself or something like that. How many of you guys had to deal with a woman like this? Maybe you heard a woman like this at your job, or somewhere where this woman's just giving out way too much information. You know she has a man at the house or something, or has a man somewhere, and she's just at the job talking to some other guy, giving out way too much information, just overly friendly, dang near finna go out with this guy. So this is the type of woman that you have. A woman that you haven't really been around too long, just enough, maybe you knocked it down or something. And don't let it be a situation where maybe you haven't had sex and she could be out doing whatever with these guys and you haven't even had a taste of the pie yet. So you have to be very careful, especially when you out here dating and you're dealing with women that are throwing tantrums and doing little things that could possibly put your life in jeopardy. This woman that's out here neighbor nudging, she could be saying something to this guy about you abusing her or something. And this guy could be trying to approach you or confront you on some information that isn't true. There's all sorts of things that could happen. This woman could be going, maybe spending the night over this guy's house. Maybe you can catch her coming out somebody's house down the street or something on your way back home. Maybe you're calling her and she's not answering the phone at a particular time for a couple of hours or something. And when you do get on the phone, she's not paying attention. It's almost like something's going on in the background and things. So, you really have to get yourself together and understand what you want out of life and give yourself plenty of time to get to know women so that you're not having all sorts of games ran on you and you're not losing your cool. Now, unfortunate things do happen to great people. If you find that you are one that gets yourself into toxic situations with women over and over again, then you will have to nip whatever it is that you're doing, place more focus on yourself, find something that will take up your time that is positive and constructive. And once you get things together, you will draw in great energy that you can utilize to build on. And that special woman will always be interested in putting you first and valuing your situation. I thank you for listening to me today. Please understand that the solution is you. With that, have a great day.